Good evening and welcome to Black Power, the podcast with me, Iffy Thomas. Today and every day of this month, I will be shining the light on people who inspire me to inspire you. And we have up next the wonderful Maya Angelou. She is extraordinary and somebody that I deeply respect. Here she is.
82 is fabulous. I thought that the 60s were good. I thought the 60s were the hottest ever. And then I got into the 70s. What? What? I loved the 70s. And I thought, well, the 80s is going to be slowing down. Not. I got a new cookbook coming out. I'm writing a new poem, a big poem. I'm writing music. I'm writing, I'm working, and I'm talking to you. Oh yes, it's 80s, try to make it. Try to make it to 80. Here, on the pulse of this new day, you may have the grace to look up and out and into your sister's eyes and into your brother's face, your country, and say simply, very simply, with hope, good morning. After I had written the inaugural poem for President Clinton, United Nations people called me and asked if I would write a poem for the world. I said yes first. I always say yes for a good thing. And then I go to the library and then I ask rabbis and priests and preachers and imams, what do you think? But finally, I thought of United Nations. When it was founded in San Francisco, I was 17. And I would go down to where they would meet, and I would watch the people go in. I read that simultaneous translators would be paid $150 a week to translate language. I knew I had a penchant for languages. And if I wasn't 6 foot tall, black, pregnant, unmarried, and uneducated, I could go in that building. And I cried. Can you imagine what it felt like 50 years later to be asked not only to write a poem, but to come back to San Francisco, to that building, and deliver the poem to the heads of state of the world. We, this people, on this wayward floating body, created on this earth, of this earth, have the power to fashion for this earth a climate where every man and every woman can live freely without sanctimonious piety and without crippling fear. There's an African-American song, 19th century, which is so great. It says, when it looked like the sun wasn't gonna shine anymore, God put a rainbow in the clouds. Imagine. And I've had so many rainbows in my clouds. I had a lot of clouds. But I have had so many rainbows. And one of the things I do when I step up on a stage, when I stand up to translate, when I go to teach my classes, when I go to direct a movie, I bring everyone who has ever been kind to me with me. Black, white, Asian, Spanish-speaking, Native American, gay, straight, everybody. I say, come with me. I'm going on the stage. Come with me, I need you now. Long dead, you see? So I don't ever feel I have no help. I've had rainbows in my clouds. And the thing to do, it seems to me, is to prepare yourself so that you can be a rainbow in somebody else's cloud. Somebody who may not look like you, may not call God the same name you call God, if they call God at all. You see? And may not eat the same dishes prepared the way you do, may not dance your dances, or speak your language, but be a blessing to somebody. Martin Luther King was killed on my birthday, April 4th, 1968. He had asked me to come back with him for 1 month and go around the country and talk to preachers and try to get them to give one Sunday's collection to his movement, the Poor People's March. This was not a black march or white or what, it was only about poor people.
It is my hope that power for poor people will really mean having the ability and the aggressiveness to make the power structure of this nation say yes when they may be desirous of saying no.
He said he wanted to get into Washington and stay there until legislation could be changed. He said he would need tent cities, cities made of tents, to stay there. And he would like me to go. I said yes. But the only thing I said, I will go, but I will not go until after my birthday.
On April 4th, King was felled by an assassin's bullet. Later, James Earl Ray was arrested in London and charged with the murder.
My sister friend, Dolly McPherson, telephoned me. She said, "Sister," she asked me, are you watching television? I said, no. I was cooking for the party. She asked, well, did you listen to the radio? I said, no. She said, don't answer the telephone. Please, I'm on my way. I thought, what on earth can be so bad? She came and rang the bell, and I opened the door, and she said, Sister, Martin Luther King is dead. I fell into a depression I'd never known before. What on earth had happened to my country? When she left, I locked the door and refused to answer the phone, answer the door. James Baldwin was my brother friend. Jimmy Baldwin, after a few days, came to my apartment and bam-a-lam-a-lam on the door. Wham! He said, open this door and I'll do this until the police come. So I opened the door. I hadn't had a bath, I hadn't had a shower, I hadn't eaten. He said, first you're going to have a drink, then you're going to eat, then you take a bath, then you put some clothes on. I'm taking you somewhere. And Jimmy said, you need to laugh. He took me to Jules Pfeiffer's house. I didn't know them, but Jules Pfeiffer and his then wife knew Jimmy, and they were ace boons. And they all fell on each other's necks and hugs and all that. And so they told stories and jokes. And so I told some stories about my growing up, the little town. And I said, Stamps was so prejudiced that black people couldn't eat vanilla ice cream. We had to only eat chocolate, which was a lie, but just a joke. The next day, Judy Pfeiffer called the man who became my editor and said, if you can get this woman who is a poet, if you can get her to write a book, you would have something. I have now written 30 books, books of poetry and books of essays and cookbooks and a number of children's books. And I still have the same editor 40 years later. What I think it really means is I'm a teacher. I am a teacher. I teach all the time, as you do and as all of you do. Whether we know it or not, whether we take responsibility for it or not, I hold nothing back. Because I want to see that light go off. Be the best human being you can be. Try to be that in your church, in your temple. Try to be that in your classroom. Do it because it is right to do. You see, people will know you, and they will add their prayers to your life. They'll wish you well. I think if your name is mentioned and people say, oh, hell, oh, damn, I think you're doing something wrong. But if your name is mentioned and people say, oh, she's so sweet, he's so nice, oh, I love, oh, God bless her, there you are. So try to live your life in a way that you will not regret years of useless virtue and inertia and timidity. Take up the battle. Take it up. It's yours. This is your life. This is your world. I'll be leaving it long before you under the ordinary set of circumstances. You make your own choices. You can decide life isn't worth living. And that would be the worst thing you can do. How do you know? So far. Try it. See. So pick it up. Pick up the battle and make it a better world. Just where you are. Yes. And it can be better, and it must be better. But it is up to us.
I could listen to Maya Angelou all day. There is so much incredible stuff out there where she shares her soul. I strongly urge you to check out Oprah Winfrey's masterclass where you get the full interview. It is breathtaking and inspiring and emotional. Thank you for listening. You've been listening to Black Power, the podcast with me, Iffy Thomas. I'm an author, motivational speaker, and the founder of The Confidence Star. And it has been a pleasure sharing with you wonderful inspiration from Maya Angelou.